This week on Game On, we chat with Echuca's Lucas Denton about his decision to re-sign.
Mathoura Football Club's Tim Sparey celebrated 250 club games.
We caught up with Echuca United's Nicholas Denahy post-match.
We have our third semi-final of the handball competition.
And Hayley Depace brings us this week's fixtures.
Perfect.
Well, we'll head straight into the Murray Football League this week with the Echuca United taking on Finley away, and they certainly made the trip worthwhile.
Yeah, they did a 55-point win for United, which was good. Never troubled by Finley. They didn't quite get a hold of them the way some other teams have. Finley have taken quite a few beatings this season, but a win really all that matters for United at this time of the year. Finley did win that second half, and I do remain a little unconvinced about United. They're just sort of falling over the line against some teams that you probably expect them to do a little more against, like Finley and Rumballara 2 weeks ago. But look, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because they're getting the wins. Defensively, they look quite strong. They transitioned the ball really well, and the skills looking good too. 6 goals for Farron Priest, 4 for Tony McMahon. Very important in kicking that winning score. And a good story for United was Tom McMinn. We know he's missed quite a bit of time, nearly a couple of months of footy, with that face injury from a hit behind the ball against Nathalia. Great to see him back out there too. Lance Oswald and Clayton Zanella, they're still out for the Eagles, but they are expected back in the next couple of weeks. We were across at Finley and we caught up with United star forward Nick Denahy for his thoughts on the game.
Yeah, it's always good to get the 4 points. We're just building on going into finals now, so 2 games to go, and Cobram next week, then Namurka, which will be 2 good tests, build us up into the final series, which we want to have a real hot crack at.
Across into the Pecola and District League now, we had Mathoura. They had a tough end of the season against Tokemore, who have placed 4th on the ladder, and they've been pretty strong this season. They're probably not the best in the side, but they were able to get the win by 94 points over the Timber Cutters. That second quarter, though, they really ran away with the game and were just able to push out the scores from there. Mathoura, they lost Scott Betson early on. He's their leading ruckman, so when you don't get that first hit out, it makes it really hard to win that contested footy. The better players, they finished off the season well again. That's Jack Cow, Lachlan Vag and Jake Allery. They were all named the best. Daniel Barwick, he got their best on ground, and it's those guys who continually stepped up to produce really solid performances for Mathoura this year in losing side, which is pretty impressive to see those guys. Hopefully they can stick around for next year, but it's just a matter of bringing up those bottom 6 players to the standard in order to see Mathoura having more success next season. They ended the year 8th on the ladder, and they've probably got a long way to go from here, but hopefully they're on the right track. They played a few more juniors on the weekend. 17-year-old Cal Ward, he made his senior debut, kicked 2 goals, and probably the youngest debut we've seen, 13-year-old Caleb Wilson. His grandfather is the club game record holder at Mathoura, and he's been training a bit with the seniors, so it was really good to see him out there getting that taste of senior footy, and why not for the last game of the year. There was also another positive from the game, that was Mathoura's reserves playing coach Tim Sparey. He played 250 club games, and he was rewarded with that on Saturday. His team capped it off with a 122-point win over Tokemore. Pecola United, it was a 15-point win over Deniliquin Rovers at Denny and on their massive ground, no doubt. But the win did not come easily. They were up in the first quarter, but then a scoreless second term saw them trailing by 7 points at half time. To their credit, though, they were able to come out after the break. They kicked 6 goals in that third term to Denny's 1, which was giving them the 18-point lead at that final change, and then they were able to keep their heads and run out the game after that. It was a challenge playing on Denny's Oval. It's one of the biggest grounds in the league, and where they'll be again in 2 weeks' time. They finished top of the ladder, so they'll go straight through to the semi-finals, as does the reserve side. So good to get a good hit out there and get some practice on that ground before that big clash. Pressure now is on the coach and the selection panel to put that right team out on the park when they've got plenty of guys pushing for selections.
Yeah, well, across in the Heathcote League, Leachfield Gunbower, they're in amazing form at the moment, we know that, and they were probably always going to be a bit too strong for Lockington Moore United, but they came away with a 145-point win. They pumped them early, 46-0 at quarter time, and from there against LG, it's only really going to go one way. The Bombers were just better in every area of the ground, which is what you expect from such a polished, experienced lineup. Great spread up forward, a lot of goal kickers. Matt Perry, 7, we know he's having a fantastic season, but Tim Lincoln, 4 as well, and Daniel Coates, 3. And Mitch Bruns, he's missed quite a bit of footy this season, but he was their best. And I think that just shows, every week they're finding new contributors and new stars that are going to really push for that premiership. The finals do kick off this weekend, and LG will be facing Colbernabon in a qualifying final. The winner will play off with North Bendigo for a spot in the grand final. The Bombers have beaten Colbernabon twice this season. They've been actually playing pretty well against them. I would expect them to be able to beat them again this weekend. The Echuca Football Club might not have a coach appointed for next season yet, but that hasn't stopped a host of their experienced stars recommitting for next season.
Yeah, one of the more locally known names is Lucas Denton. We had the pleasure of catching up with him earlier in the week.
For me it was pretty easy because I live locally. I've travelled for a few years prior to that, and I've just loved the environment that Echuca has provided me and my family, and so being one of the elder statesmen, for me, I've been thrust into a bit of a leadership role this year, and it was a pretty easy decision for me to go on again and try and nurture a bit of younger talent and bring them up. I've never done much of that in the past, but I really enjoy sort of getting to know the younger guys and just showing them a bit what it's all about, with training standards and match day preparation. So being able to sort of set a bit of an example in that sense has been really good. Yeah, the last couple of weeks have been a bit disappointing, considering the injuries that we've had. Like I said, we don't want to blame those, but we've had some pretty key players that have come out and changed the structure quite a bit. But we're going to probably finish up pretty similar position to last year, and considering with those losses that we've had, it's probably still a reasonable result. Briggsy's done a great job from an outsider's point of view over the 4 years that I've seen the club, from where they were to where when I came in last year, and the improvements that the ladder position and things that they've made. Like it's been gradual, but it was coming from a long way back. So Briggsy's done a great job in that sense. We've probably lacked a bit of midfield depth, so I don't know whether a high-profile coach can bring someone in to do that role, or even just a bit of junior development as well. Someone who can probably get a bit more game time into those younger guys is probably the biggest key, I guess. Yeah, I think we should be a top 4 side. That's my feel on it. If we can just recruit a couple of high-end, top-end players, sort of that extra midfielder. Maybe if we can keep guys on the park in defence and sort of get us a bit of drive there, and a couple of guys, young kids that have had opportunities this year, with that natural progression, I think we should be able to be in the top 4.
Well, there weren't too many games to cover in the netball this weekend, but let's get into them right now.
Yeah, we'll start off in the Murray League. Echuca United, they travelled to take on Finley, and it was probably one of the more anticipated games of the round, with Tongala losing in that shock loss to Kingupna. But United, they really showed their depth. They were missing Sophie Atkinson and Clorinda Hudson, who are overseas, and Remy Day, she was a late exclusion with an injury. But they were able to come away with a 15-goal win, which is pretty impressive. B-grade step up to give them a few players. Tana Edwards, she came on in goal attack, and Jess Davidson played out the game in wing attack. And, since they'd already played together, they had that solid combination, which was really good to see out on the court. Gracie Berriman, she played more of a feeding role on the day, which worked actually really beautifully. And Tana Edwards, she was able to finish off perfectly. Amy Gledhill and Al Florence, they took on the defending role as expected. They let a few more goals through than I think they would have liked, but Liv Bish and Brianna Bookham, they were just exceptional around the ring. They gave them a lot of pressure and created a lot of handy tips, which gave them the ball. Third quarter, definitely their best. They really stuck to their systems. Beautiful timing, and what we expect to see from a side like Echuca United, but it's just a matter of getting that consistency, which they'll be looking for with finals.
Yeah, in the other games around the area, there was no love lost between LBU and Leachville Gumbauer, but the Bombers were able to end the Cat season with a 26-goal win at Gumbauer. Probably one that LBU coach Christy Rolson wanted to forget. They'll be looking ahead to next season. Leachville Gumbo, they're moving through to the finals now. It's an elimination final against Mount Pleasant on Sunday. They've actually played a couple of really close games this season. You probably expect that this one on the weekend will be going down to the wire again. And in the Pecola League, the Denny Rovers beat Pecola United by 41 goals, and Mathoura lost to Tocumwal by 64. Both of those teams are out of the finals.
Well, let's get into this week's fixtures with Hayley Depace.
Hi, my name is Hayley Depace from Echuca United Netball Football Club. It's the first rounds of finals this week in Pecola and District and Heathcote and District leagues. In the Heathcote League, Leachville Gunbower will play Colbernabon in the first rounds of finals, and Pecola United has the week off. In the GVL, Echuca will host Rochester, in which is sure to be an exciting clash. In the Murray League, Echuca United has Cobram at home. Tongala will host Finley at Tongala Recreation Reserve, and Moama is away to Buruga.
Well, that wraps up another week. Be sure to tune in to riverineherald.com.au next Thursday and our Facebook page for another episode of Game On. And grab your copy of Monday's Riv to see if you're the American Hotel's next face in the crowd.
And we'll leave you today with the third semi-final of the Echuca Fashion Centre Workwear First Handball Competition.
All right, we're here for our third round of the semi-finals of Echuca Fashion Centre Workwear First Handball Competition. We've got our next semi-finalists who are looking forward to getting through to the preliminary final in a couple of weeks' time.
Billy Barnes.
Hi, I'm Austin Reiner.
Josh Swinton.
Hi, I'm Lucas Simpson.
Lucas McKenna.
Cody Thompson.
So we've got our two winners, Lucas McKenna and Austin Reiner. They'll be going through to our preliminary finals later on. There you go, boys.
Thank you.